quick.
You can skip
All
this
right.
agenda.
Want me to skip
Good
that?
evening.
I don't know what it looks like.
Ready?
Welcome to the
Sorry.
Educational Programs and Services Committee meeting. I'm your chair, Evelyn McCormick. I have with me Trina Sharshman and JP Prego. I also have, here we go, okay, Dr. Farina, Carol Giblin. I don't see Amy tonight. I don't see Kim. Sarah Rocknell. I do see Jim.
And I neglected to put Christine Campbell, our supervisor, high school supervisor of special ed, on
Christine.
the list. That's my fault, Christine.
Epic fail.
And you, right, and you navigated this terrible weather.
I'm so sorry.
Without an ice scraper.
Without an ice scraper. All right. Okay, so to start, I'm looking for a motion for the approval of the November 21st.
Motion.
Second.
All right, any discussion, any questions?
Oh, man.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes, thank you very much. All right, next up, High School Program of Studies update on Kutztown dual enrollment. Mr. Flanagan, Dr. Frank.
Am I projecting mine, or are you projecting?
You can.
You want to go in that order, or did I mess you
Do you
up?
have my slideshow in there?
Yep, just
Okay.
flip for it. Okay, keep going.
Keep going?
Yep, and I will click, and then you can
Oh,
go.
look at that.
Just as a reminder, I have to share this instead. This is a function of the board, reviewing program of studies and approving programs of studies. So we have always allowed this committee to take a look. We don't do it in totality, but we do highlight the changes for you to see, and that often pairs with the budgeting process, as you know. And so Mr. Flanagan is going to take it over from here for the 87,000 users. There are, I will brace you.
Wow.
This is, so I was joking before you got here. It's always been done by Rob and Kim, 5 years, and now it's Frank, mostly Frank and Andrea, so it looks a little different.
Okay.
Sorry.
So,
I feel like you're not sorry, but all right, let's see what you got.
all right, so
Thank you.
there's a lot of content, so I apologize in advance. But this is basically the general. I'm not going to read everything word for word, but I'll try to highlight the changes. So overall, what we have is there's really 9 areas that I'm going to touch on: dual enrollment updates, AP course updates, update to gifted seminar. Both English and social studies were in the process before I got here of like a scope revision as far as how they were mapped by grade level at the high school in order to integrate choice for the 11th and 12th graders. So that is now effectively going in place in the program of studies. So I'll highlight that a little bit. We have some math updates that we're going to be making related to changes. There's an update to Health 2 online. We're looking at adding a course program called Career Work Experience. I'll highlight that. That's working with Angela. And American Sign Language, which I will chat. I added that at the end for a little bit of discussion. So the first piece that we'll highlight is dual enrollment. 2 updates. One is the big thing. We are partnering with Penn State University to offer psychology as a dual enrollment option. It's the first effort of us kind of like stepping into the dual enrollment partnership with Penn State. It's $290 for 3 credits of Penn State credit.
Are you going to remove the AP psych?
Nope, we're going to keep them both. So we're going to offer dual enrollment psych and AP psych. This is we're still finalizing the partnership. We got an MOU today, but we want to get that in place to start engaging in those conversations, especially as we craft out our electives, because Penn State likes to follow a semester format, and as we add half-credit electives that follow a semester format, they pair up really, really nicely with potential future options for Penn State. There are a few other ones that we can entertain in the future once we do further revisions, but this is a really cool opportunity for our kids.
Let me weigh in. So this committee will have to move forward the recommendation to put the MOU on the agenda for workshop.
Okay.
So for us to continue to work in that partnership, we have always had the board approve our MOUs, so you know what colleges and universities we're partnering with as part of our program.
So you're saying Kutztown, but you said Penn State, or?
That first one was Penn
this is
State,
different.
this is another one.
Do you want us to wait to go through it and then do the motion?
Yep.
Okay, okay, great. I mean, I love it.
Yep. We have a lot of Penn State interested in college-bound students,
Sure.
especially, and this would be through Lehigh Valley campus. So it's we have a lot of students that are interested in going that route and go to Lehigh Valley, so this is a really great, inexpensive way for them to get a gen ed out of the way, which is usually tied to a lot of different majors. So we're excited about it. We'll see, how much interest we get, but it's a great opportunity.
Great.
The second dual enrollment update is we're integrating and we're going to do a pilot next year. Right now we have 3 students who are interested. We have to build this out a little bit more for logistics, but Kutztown offers an early college academy for interested students who are interested in education. And that is an opportunity. They would go to Kutztown for half a day, and they take 2 courses per semester, which would be the equivalent of 12 college credits. And they get those prior to graduating high school, and then we would build them a schedule essentially that looks like a Western Center schedule, where they would have like a half day at Kutztown and then a half day of their core content courses. It's designed for any student considering education. They're gonna, I believe the cost is $1,200 for 12 credits, which is, it's about $100 a credit at Kutztown. So again, this is a really great opportunity. We're going to try to pilot it with it'll be a small group next year right now, and that's provided that every kid that indicated that they were interested actually follows through with it.
Yeah.
But we have to, move forward. We do have an MOU with them as well that we're looking forward to move forward to get this integrated, and then we'll build out the back end of it between now and when they have to start in August.
Can I also add in? So
Yep.
there's been a lot of discussion about, we all know teaching is coming at a premium. And so we on sort of in the background, in addition to this, are really trying to maximize the pathway model. And so looking at how do we introduce 9th and 10th graders to teaching, the practice of teaching. How do we get them in some of our schools in like a lab school setting? And so really creating a 9 through 12 pathway. For those of you who may not be familiar with that, there are the educator pipeline concept, grow your own concept. You've probably heard all of that. And so we are, Georgie's involved, Frank, and we're trying to say, okay, so then how do we, with Kutztown, guarantee them something like a student teaching placement and then absorb them in a subbing or consideration for a position if they're in good standing in their university. And so, this group will probably hear us talk a little bit more about fleshing that entire pathway out in the near future. But this is a good first step and a great opportunity for kids interested in teaching.
And these are for seniors?
This will be for seniors,
Just
yeah.
seniors?
It'll be just seniors.
Same Penn State? Same
No,
Penn
this
State.
is Kutztown
No,
University.
but I'm saying, is it the same for the Penn State class as well? Just for seniors?
Technically, we're offering that psychology course for juniors and seniors.
Juniors and
So they could take,
seniors, okay.
they could take psych, it's an intro to psych class, so it's your psych 101 at Penn State is what it's probably gonna be. They didn't give me a course number yet, that's why it's kind of not completely defined in the slide here, but it'll probably be a psych 101, and that's gonna be for juniors or seniors.
Okay,
Yep,
Thank
this will
you.
just be for seniors.
right. I love it. Can you remind me again, or tell me again, how much the Penn State psychology course
Penn State
was?
is $290 is the price I believe they quoted us, and Kutztown, from what we saw so far, is $1,200 for the 12
Right,
credits.
which is awesome.
Which is awesome
Yeah.
for kids who are, want to get some college credit out of the way and also save money, because a semester of college is way more than $1,200.
Yeah.
So, we're hoping, long-term to add more options like this into our, we'll say our repertoire of what we can offer students for their post-secondary plans, which I think is really cool.
And sorry, you said we were piloting, is this new also at Kutztown, or we are piloting?
No, it's not new at
It's not
Kutztown.
new.
There's
Okay.
a few other districts that have been doing this for a few years now. We're just jumping on the bus.
Yeah,
which-
and I made you copies of the presentation that they shared with us, just for
Oh, this is-
just so you can check that out and see sort of what the details are, what the courses involved are.
Yeah, see, they would do like an internship or something
Mhm.
Yep.
at the schools here.
Very
Yeah.
similar with
Yeah.
Kutztown.
Observation
Yeah.
hours,
Yeah.
internships, yeah, it's pretty cool. Yep.
I'm trying to make this moment.
So that's the big things with dual enrollment. We still have partnerships maintained with Montgomery County, which we offer a host of classes with that. Those all kind of stay the same. The next thing we're excited to launch for next year, based on a lot of feedback, is we're launching AP Human Geography for our 9th grade students, which is the first time we've offered an AP course for our freshmen. It is a course that many other districts run. It's basically the course is designed, and I have a description in here for everyone. It's designed to, Sorry, I'm doing 2 screens, I'm trying to read it. So what the course is built around is population movement, population around the globe, and it's designed to teach the AP skills that students need to be successful in every AP class, like understanding more difficult content, answering DBQs, doing research. It's a great course for that, and with social studies already undergoing a scope realignment, this is a really good opportunity to open up an AP pathway. So essentially, for our rising freshmen who are strong in either ELA or social studies that want to take a challenging class, this is the only option they would have. But they had no other option prior to this. Long term, it creates a great opportunity for kids to get that advanced class and get some college potential AP credit, or as early as 9th grade.
And that's only worth 1 college credit? Am I seeing that
It
right?
would be worth 3. That's 1 credit for us.
One
It's
high
a
school
1.0
credit.
social
Okay.
studies credit. Yep. Just like it's modeled. It's kind of similar to every other AP class. It's a 1 high school credit, but you can get up to
Okay.
3 college credits for it.
But the DE are 6. Are they all 6?
The
Their full year?
dual enrollment courses,
Yeah.
they're worth 1 credit for us and 3 credits for college.
3 credits
Like 3 college credits.
So the
for the whole
psychology,
year? Like AP Psych?
So AP Psych would be 1 credit, and if they pass the AP exam, they could transfer that AP credit into a college and get 3 college credits. Each college undergrad course is worth 3 credits.
But the dual enrollment is 6 college credits? No?
It's the Kutztown program would be 4 classes
Okay.
at 3 credits each for 12 credits total.
Okay.
The Penn State dual enrollment would be, actually, it's technically a half a credit for us because it's a semester, but they get 3 credits of Penn State credit.
Okay.
Would that make sense?
Yep.
who's
So-
teaching AP Human Geography?
Right now, we have a teacher interested in, he's currently doing A-Push, Mr. Peoples is interested in doing AP Human Geography.
Of course.
And, he's pretty excited about it, so we're happy that he stepped up and volunteered because we are rolling this out, in August. So,
Yeah,
and based on conversations so far, we're definitely gonna be able to run it. We have enough interest for sure.
Great.
So with the summer work requirements, this is gonna have to be offered to 8th graders.
8th graders coming up,
Okay.
yep. So we'll be doing that through our scheduling process, which will be, late January, early February for them. And talking through that, we had a meeting with some of our other folks over there about a week ago and kind of highlighted that this will be opened up, so they know to engage in those conversations.
And this has been sort of a weak spot in terms of accelerated or, enhanced programming for 9th graders outside of mathematics.
Great.
And so,
Yeah, we have nothing in the humanities right now in 9th grade to really accelerate, other than an honors level course, which is, again, this is a different beast. It's also great preparation to get them ready to be able to take the later AP classes that they're going to need those skills in. So that we're excited about that.
Just let me interrupt you 1 second. Do you want me to get this dual enrollment thing now before we move forward? Get the motion?
you can.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
So
move
before you
both
move
out.
forward,
Yeah.
I'll just ask for the motion to
We'll talk
take
about
the
it next.
memorandum of understanding to the board workshop meeting so that we're able to move these 2 college opportunities
Penn State
forward.
and for
For Penn
Kutztown.
State and for Kutztown's pilot.
Motion.
Segment.
Fantastic. Any questions or discussion? All those in
Excited
favor?
for it. Aye.
Yes, same here. Any opposed? No? Great.
Did you say move?
Move forward. No, not opposed, not opposed. All forward. We are good to go. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Just want to make sure that was ready.
Yeah, agreed, thank you.
Yes. Okay, thanks.
All right, the next one is, as we have ran in the past, we've run what's called Gifted Seminar. That's just any student with a GIEP has access for some enrichment opportunities. Meeting with the Gifted team over the last 9-10 months now, being here, the conversation about ways that we can make Gifted Sem more engaging and more beneficial from a broader scope came up long term. So we're running Gifted Seminar as we have, which will be a semester class. It's not required for GIEP students, but it's, any student with a GIEP can access it. But what we're going to do is we're going to break it into STEM-based enrichment and humanities-based enrichment, because right now it's really not designated that way. We don't really have a focus area, and we want to expand the teachers that are doing Gifted STEM to include some engineering type concepts or math or business, things that would be, appealing to anybody in the STEM field, in addition to just primarily what we've been doing in the past is humanities-based. It's been research, it's been, public speaking, projects on passion projects. They've been doing a variety of things in there, but we would like to kind of scope it out where they have 2 opportunities, for STEM and 2 opportunities for humanities-based enrichment. It's the same type course, and this needs more work right now, but we're kind of laying it out as a change for next year. Okay. English. So there's a lot of slides for English and social studies, but I'm going to try to summarize that in a large sense. So,
A run-on sense.
An improper.
yeah. So this is the English scope, essentially, and so we're making changes to our elective model to allow for half-credit electives for 11th and 12th graders. We've done some revisions to film as literature, for example, and also kind of re-outline the mapping for, we'll say, overall topic areas for grades 9 through 12. So what you'll see English 9 academic, which is, we've been running that class. Why is it not moving?
Andrew, what'd you do?
Don't worry, the next one.
Did your computer fall asleep again, like earlier?
Yes,
It
yeah.
didn't work?
There you go.
Okay.
I'll help you. That's what
English 9 academic is a survey class. It's been a survey, but there's a new update to that, just a description. It lays out some text that it covers, Anthem, Animal Farm, Romeo and Juliet, All Quiet on the Western Front. It's a variety of text, but it is primarily going to dip into American Lit and World Lit. It's going to be a combination. It's very similar to how it's been ran, but it's got a new title. It's got a little bit of a new description, so we have it included in this discussion. English 10 academic is American literature. So that's the Keystone tested course. That is, again, it's, the texts are listed, Of Mice and Men, Great Gatsby, Raisin in the Sun, Catcher in the Rye, the things they carried. It's a collection of English text, American literature text. That's a Keystone Trigger course. So that is, again, pretty similar to what we've done, but just they've kind of remapped the language a little bit and just kind of, we've sharpened our scope and how we're running, the type of content students are going to cover is a little bit clearer now, more clear than it's been. Then you get to English 11. English 11 and 12 are where we bring in the choice model. So what 11th grade English traditionally is, which pretty much was this content, but it is now, we're calling it world literature. We're not calling it English 11. And world literature is open to essentially an 11th or 12th grader. So they have to take 4 credits of English, but they can choose to take world literature as an option in either 11th or 12th grade. Similarly to that, 12th grade literature is British literature, which is what it's been, but we've made it a British literature choice. I'm stumbling over it because I avoided it, and I was an English teacher like the plague. But it does have benefits, Shakespeare and all that, Great Expectations, love Dickens. But British literature is now an option for either 11th or 12th grade. So we've made that a choice stance. So those are full 1-credit courses that are just as sort of how we ran English 11 and 12, but we've defined it a little bit more by content area. Instead of just saying English 11, we're saying, okay, we're doing world literature here, and we're doing British literature here in this class. So that kind of just sharpens, again, the focus of it a little bit. With film as literature, which is the next slide, we've split that into 2 half-credit courses that do not need to be taken in any specific order. So you can take film as literature, one of them is called the story, and then one of them is called the style. So if a student opts to take both of those classes, they can get 1 full credit of ELA, just like they can now, but they're going to focus on a little bit different concepts in each of those classes. It's a very popular class. This will also allow it to fit in schedules very easily around PE and some of the social studies things that we're going to talk about, but we split it in half, essentially. And then pairing that with social studies, that's really it for the English changes. So there's not a lot. We still have short fiction in there. We've offered that before. Like I said, it was primarily language and then just defining the content that they're covering. Social studies, however, if we go to that chart, Andrea, it's on slide 17.
I'm ready, I got it.
Oh, look at that, okay. So social studies has now at this point shifted with our current ninth graders to a world literature ninth grade social studies curriculum. That's pretty common, generally in ninth grade, a lot of high schools will cover world history, so we're running world history. Then we're doing US History Part 2 in 10th grade, which is the second part after they've covered Part 1 in 8th grade. So essentially, those are both required classes that every kid has to take because they have to take world history and they have to take US history. Now, for students who choose to take AP Geography, that will satisfy that credit in 9th grade because it does cover the entire globe with population patterns. That's partially why we put it there. It didn't make sense to open it up to older kids because the skills that they're learning in geography in the AP Geog are basic AP skills that will be for a lot of first-time AP takers. After 10th grade, though, which has the AP US, it opens up to, we're adding a new government class, which was in the works because government is a state requirement. So we have an intro to government that is going in as a half-credit elective, both academic and honors. That will be required for them to take somewhere between 11th and 12th grade. And then around that, they can add in a psychology, which has the dual enrollment option. They could add in sociology, which also is a half credit now. It's moved to a half credit. Or if they choose not to do that right now, they can add in an AP class, which they can go AP Geography to AP US to AP World to AP Psych if they choose to do that path. So that opens up a 4 AP credit pathway for them. So those are the big changes there with that. Similarly to what I kind of reviewed with English, there's new descriptions for each of these classes that I included in this slideshow. There's the modern world history descriptions on slide 18. Slide 19 has US history descriptions that are updated to kind of reflect the content that we've now moved to from a new scope. The introduction to government has a description in there on slide 20. And then psychology has a revised description that's going to pair really well with Penn State. We had to update that to match up with Penn State. And like I said, once we get more information from them, we get officially approved, we'll move forward with more conversations about that. Then we get to math. And so math is probably one I'm most excited about because math is always like, in every district I worked in, it's like always a hot topic of conversation related to achievement and a need. So the biggest thing we noticed coming in, and so I'm going to put the chart up there. Thanks, Andrea, you're ahead of me. Okay, so we had, working with Carol, any student that is identified needs access to core as well as the intervention instruction. They can't just have intervention as a replacement. And so what we were finding is students that were coming up that were essentially not ready for Algebra 1, regular Algebra 1, we've been placing them in what's everybody, and I'm sure we know this, proficiency algebra, which is this double credit, 2-period, every day, or 2 credits model, and allowing them to never basically there's a group of them that go in there, and then there's kids that need the intervention support that go in either what's called Math 1 or Math 2. If they have Math 1 or Math 2, they've never been able to take, we can't fit in their schedule algebra as a core. We've never been able to fit that in their schedule. So all they're getting is the intervention, and we're counting that as a replacement math credit. And on top of that, after Math 2, they got to take the Keystone exam. So they're being tested, but they've never actually had an algebra class. They've had some concepts in the intervention course, but they've never flat out taken like any sort of algebra that they're going to get tested on. So one of the things that we looked at was a way to correct that. We looked around, we looked at some various options that other districts are doing, trying to get a sense of how we can do that. And what we're going to do is we're retiring proficiency. So slide 24, we are going to break algebra up. We're going to have basically 3 trajectories for math. If you are a student who is, did you go back to the chart?
I went back to the chart.
Okay. So I'll explain it a little bit. If you're a student who's advanced in math, meaning you've taken algebra by 8th grade, you're going to come in and you're going to go into geometry, essentially, or algebra 2. Like you're going to go into those 2 courses and you're going to go on your way and you're going to move along. Then we're going to look at student data, performance data coming out of 8th grade. And if you are below basic, I'm just going to do a blanket analysis of it. If you're below basic in your skills in math, we're going to put you in what's called Algebra 1A. We're going to split algebra over 2 years, and we're going to do Algebra 1A your first year and Algebra 1B your second year, and you will take the Keystone in your sophomore year, which will allow us to pair that with proper intervention support to help you try to gain some of that skills back over a 2-year period instead of trying to cram 2 credits of math with you, which we've seen from the data and proficiency does not work. They're not passing the Keystone. Now we're hopeful that because we can pair Algebra 1 with intervention support, we have a better opportunity to get them caught up. We'll have to wait and see how the data plays out, and that we're 2 years out from that because we're going to be bringing up a cohort next year and starting them with 1A. If you're basic or higher in 8th grade, you'll go into Algebra 1. If you're basic or higher, you'll get regular Algebra 1, and we'll, probably a co-taught class and go from there. If you're a Math 1 student now, though, the big change is that if you're a Math 1 student who needs that required intervention, we will now have you take Math 1 and Algebra 1A, and you will be getting core instruction for the first time versus just taking your Math 1 class. So we're super excited about that. We have people writing curriculum for that this spring. We're going to be picking a new resource for that, a new text to pair with this course that's appropriate for that level. And we'll see what the data shows. Partnering that with our IXL as well as our math intervention, our IE period interventions, and taking 2 years to kind of break algebra in half and go at a slow pace will hopefully give us the best possible opportunity to help remediate some of the skills, especially for the Math 1 and the Math 2 students, and give them a better shot to pass the Keystone exam, which is ultimately that graduation requirement. That's the big change for math. That's it for math. Everything else in math is moving ahead. Health 2 online, that is just we use a third-party vendor for that, but it's now morphed into what's called Contemporary Health. That's something that we use Edgenuity to provide that resource. There's a new course description with that, and so we wanted to provide that. This is a web-based course that will meet online. I will read this just because it is a new description. Health education seeks to develop in each student practices which will enable him or her to attain and maintain proper mental and physical health habits. This course is run through Edgenuity, a third-party vendor. The course subject matter traces human development from the beginning of life until death. Although all stages of development are discussed, a major emphasis is placed on adolescent development. This includes various topics such as human sexuality and gender, decision-making, drugs, alcohol, consumer health, and mental health. The course requires administrative approval to enroll, and it's done through our UPOLA program. Some students opt to take this online in lieu of having to eat up a schedule slot, and then generally they'll work on it in a study hall or they'll work on it on their own time if they take it that way, but we wanted to include that new description.
Yeah. And just, to go back, we got some parent feedback related to this particular course. And so some of the other things that we've done in order to be very explicit is this is step 1, because the program did not read like this previously. But to also share very transparently the course, the scope and sequence of the course, and the content within that scope and sequence. And so even working with the high school administration, I said they need that. They need it. And then I want them to see it and approve of it, but also send, you could still want to participate in that course in order to do, as Mr. Flanagan said, to free up a spot in your schedule. And so to make also sure they understand that there are an inspection of curriculum and an exemption from an instruction policy. So if it is that particular unit that they would like exempt, now they know it and they can ask for it. You don't have to not take the whole class to not participate in that unit. So we're trying to build that in, but it starts with being really transparent about the description.
Yeah, and it's important that it's a pre-K curriculum that we get through the program, so we don't control the units. We just use them as a third-party vendor, so that communicating that with parents is key. And so making sure that this was here, and I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that because we have gotten calls about some of the content.
Yeah.
So.
You've got units.
Yep, so that's here. That's in the program of studies. This wording is exactly what I pulled out of the actual document that we're going to use. It's not. Just so you guys are clear, these are the actual descriptions in this slideshow that we're using in the actual document.
Okay. To be clear, they can exempt from a
Just
particular unit, and you can do that even though it's canned?
Yeah, so what
Yeah,
happens,
yep.
yeah, and so we can't eliminate it from the course, but we can exempt them.
Oh,
And
okay.
so consider that when we're evaluating
I
their
gotcha.
performance.
Yeah.
And when the kid wants to take that course, is there like a parent, I forget, I'm sorry, I'm a bad
Yep.
parent. Do we sign it, right?
For that specific course, we would review the content
Okay.
of the course with the parent and have them sign off on the content prior to them taking it.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
we do that on the course cards anyway, right? Like for courses?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, access to the
But
course syllabus.
They're
I
Yep.
forget, it's been a while.
They're usually not
I
as
guess.
descriptive, to be honest with you, and I think
Okay.
sharing a syllabus when there is content that may be objectionable to somebody is, I don't, it's a good course, but
I appreciate that, thank you. Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Just a couple more and I'm almost done. So, career work experience, this is something that is kind of like a pet project for me from my past experiences, but what we're excited to do and working with Angela is we have a lot of students who are school to work, they're school to work bound. 47% of our student population actually goes right into the workforce when they graduate, approximately. That's the data that we have from Angela. So, and from just kind of looking at, our post-secondary process, with our students. And career
Wow.
work.
That's a lot.
47%
Yeah.
is the number I was told. So what we wanted to do is we have a lot of students who have jobs now, outside of the tech, tech students who are at Western, but what this is going to be is an option for any senior who's currently employed or seeking employment and gets employed. They can receive school credit for work. We can, based on how much they work. So we would need proof of work. It's an option that helps a senior who aims to work after high school. They would have to have a mentor at their job to sign off on it. They'd have to submit regular hours and pay stubs to validate that they're actually working. And it also helps meet the criteria for the evidence-based pathway for our students. And some of those students who struggle to pass the Keystones, we can use this as evidence-based. It's also really great for credit-sensitive students who maybe need to work because they are literally bringing money into the house, or for a variety of reasons that they might be struggling, and we can offer potential, up to 2 credits based on if they're working like a ton of hours, that they could get as just general elective credit, which would allow them to, let's say they're a couple credits short of graduation, but they're working really hard. We can work to give them an opportunity to get some credit because they need to, and if they turn around to us and say, I have to work, I can't not work, which we hear that from some, this is another option. This won't be a big group of students. It's going to be application-based. Myself and Angela are going to coordinate it. It's not going to be, it's not broadcasted, but this is one of the ones that we have like another tool in our back pocket in case we have a kid who could really benefit from it.
I like this, it's like it's already happening, but you're kind of just swooping in to
Formalizing.
help
Yep.
make it function.
What I'm trying to push towards
I
is
like
different pieces of which we're going to get there, but it's going to take longer than the short amount of time I've been here so far, which doesn't seem like a short amount of time, but it's short, is the internship concept. Like, I'm really trying to layer in, add like pieces of that where, and in all the conversations with the chamber is to add in different internship opportunities for our seniors where they can go out and maybe do like a work experience in their second semester, but we have other layers we have to layer in. This is a good first step, but this is a specific group of kids that we're targeting with this.
Sounds great.
All right, last one. For further planning, but likely, one of the pieces of feedback we have from the comprehensive plan survey is students have a high level of interest in doing American Sign Language as an elective. So Edgenuity, our third-party vendor, offers a 4-unit, and I have a little description down there. It's 4 units of study. There is a cost to it, but we would like to at least add it into the program under our UPOLA section to offer the students the ability to take it as an elective for now,
The cost is to whom?
to the student
Yeah.
right
To the
now.
student.
I think it's $290.
Okay.
Per semester.
$290 per, and it is a semester course, right?
Correct.
It's a half credit, 4-unit semester class.
And it's not college credit, it's high school, okay.
High school credit, will count it as an elective. It would be, they can complete it if they decide they want to take it. I can put them in a study hall and they can work on it in there. We have some logistics that we'd have to work out to get them to take it, or we can enroll them in it and they can take it concurrently with their other classes. It doesn't, that's also an option. But we have a high interest of it in it. We'll see if we get any kids to take it. It's a cool opportunity. It's really expanded out there in the education realm. Like a lot of districts are starting to offer it because it's becoming a I don't want to say becoming a thing because that's like really basic, but it's becoming something that can create really great opportunities and a skill set for kids that they can take from it. So
I've seen it too, they're interested.
Yeah. I mean, and I have a personal passion because that's the language I took. And so it's surprisingly helpful in the community, just because you can help people sometimes.
Well, yeah, one of my students was like, I was at the grocery store and there was a man, he was needing help at the grocery store, but nobody could speak to him, but I could. And she's just a kid.
yeah.
I was looking for funding sources because, we really want to promote it and we want to honor what kids told us they wanted. So I'll continue to look to hopefully, defer some of that cost, but right now I don't have it.
We're usually a fan of the funding sources.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And one of the things that, with the high school schedule especially, is that your schedule is driven by student choice. Like you want to build a program that reflects interest and reflects, continually being aggressive and offering choices, because what they want to take is going to drive what you schedule, what you try to offer. So this is one of the ones that they indicate they want to take it. Let's try it. Let's try to do it.
Yeah, let's see how many actually take it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the cost might
Could
Be a
be.
deterrent.
be a deterrent for some. But we'll see.
Yep. And that's it.
So, can we ask questions?
Sure.
Okay. So my first question, and this is all fantastic, and thank you very much, and way to go through it very quickly and cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time.
It took like 30 minutes.
That was really good, because that was a lot of information. But are you planning on changing the format? So what I mean by that, are classes still going to be 90 minutes and those kinds of things, or are you talking about or thinking about changing the time?
So right now, we began the investigating a bell schedule change. We tabled that because we have the massive construction project coming.
But this all fits within?
This will fit in what we're doing now.
Okay.
We are going to re-pick up that conversation next fall, and after we get through the completion of the abatement and things like that, and we have a little bit, and teachers can focus a little bit more. I don't want to, that's a lot to take on, is, start like coming in and after renovation, say, hey, we're doing a brand new bell schedule nobody's ever done.
Right.
So we're gonna engage in that conversation. There's a lot of factors that go into that, but it's definitely something that is in the back of my mind that I think we should probably look at the efficiency of the schedule.
Okay.
But right now we can run all this based on what we currently have.
Great. It seems like more, that you're trying to, more offerings, and I didn't know if it would be able to be the same, so that's great. Do you guys have other questions?
As far as the bell schedule, any research I've done just has pros and cons for a shorter bell schedule versus the block that you have. And essentially it boils down to if it works for you, it works for you. So, I don't know what's all going into your conversation. There's a lot of moving parts if you want to start that conversation. I'm curious about why you're entertaining it. I don't have strong feelings about it.
The number one reason is that our IE period is not allowing our Western Center students to get an adequate amount of intervention time. So the IE period we need to revise that. Beyond that, while we're doing that, it's worthy of a conversation to talk about, and there's several different models, and like you've said, there's a lot of research that goes either way. You have to look at staffing implications with any choice and any change. You have to look at, running your advanced courses and the testing schedule. You have to look at a lot of things when you entertain that option, but we have to do something with IE period.
The length of a lab.
Yeah.
And I will just say, so, our master schedule change took place right with the COVID period. So we have taken some time to then look at data, and what we projected as a strategy to improve student achievement has actually worked in reverse. We've seen a trend, and it is because an unanticipated consequence was that the kids in the highest need have the least access. And so we have been talking, I mean, that's a real driver of that, getting core plus intervention. And right now, if you go to the Western Center, you can't get either.
It's difficult. It's difficult.
So it's a little bit of a challenge for us.
Yeah, so I mean, more to come on that. Right now, next year, we're going to run our current bell schedule, so no changes on that. But we can move forward with this program changes with the current schedule as is.
Right. Judy?
Nothing from me?
No?
I'm good.
No, good. You're good? All right.
Excellent stuff.
Well,
Thank you.
again, thank you very much.
For sure.
Really appreciate all the information, and that sounds really exciting. And I think the kids are going to benefit from a lot of the fun new classes, yeah. And it all goes back to the survey results of making kids feel like they want to be at school, understand why they're at school, giving them some more,
You have
you
a
know.
question in
Not that their input's valued.
Right.
You have a question in
Hi.
Oh!
I didn't want to.
I'm sorry.
A quick question, going back to the math. You had talked about doing away with the intervention and doing the Algebra 1A.
With the
As-
intervention, not
with-
getting rid of the intervention,
Okay, so
no.
it's the intervention, which is
Letting them,
good for the 8th grade coming into 9th and 10th. What's going to happen with the 9th grade students who are in a core Algebra 1 class with intervention? And are they going to, is there a way for them, I guess technically they'd be in 1B?
no, they'll be in the full course. So we're going to offer the full Algebra 1 course for students who are ready for that, and then we're going to split it in half for another group of students that could benefit from additional time and intervention support. So students who are ready based on their performance in 8th grade, but maybe they weren't ready for Algebra 1 in 8th grade, but they'll be ready, they're closer to being ready in 9th grade. Let's say they're basic or above, but they didn't take it, we'll put them right into Algebra 1, and we have IE intervention in there, and they have that access in there, and then they can take the Keystone in 9th grade, like they can get through it and move forward. If a student shows that maybe they could benefit from that extra year, based on their data and their performance, we'll split them and we'll put them in 1A and then we'll put them in 1B.
So that would be for sophomore year, so they.
Sophomore, they
they're-
take 1B, yep.
I mean, but if they're in algebra now, failing, like, not able to.
What, right now? Oh, we would have
So a
to,
10th grader, then they would go into, would they redo?
depends.
1A?
They could credit recover it and go into, the numeric geometry class, or, we have to look and see what their performance is when they finish. But yeah. We wouldn't put them in 1B if they've taken the whole class. We would have to look and see like what are the issues that they fail in, is it a summer opportunity where they can credit recover it? Do we want to, if they have to retake the Keystone, we can put them into a Keystone Intervention Center kind of model during the IE period and have them retest in the winter. There's different stuff available.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I ask the committee, is it possible for us to jump to 4? Because we're running out of time,
Yes.
but in our last.
It was good stuff, though.
Yeah,
Frank.
it was great stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and we usually don't have the hard stuff, so
Mhm.
in our defense.
Right.
Only because in our last CPS meeting, I shared, we are now testing online.
Yes.
Boyertown does that. But we've been working really hard to gain traction in student achievement and growth in student achievement. And you've seen it. I mean, the heavy investment in our elementary schools. But I say that knowing that we're rolling out online testing, and Sarah's going to just show you what that looks like if you've not seen it, and talk to you about what we're trying to do to get ready for it, because it may impact students' ability to navigate the assessment.
All right, so, so like Dr. Farina said, we are rolling into online testing this year. PDE has made it a requirement of all school districts to be doing online testing next school year, but districts have the opportunity to opt in this year to get the infrastructure set up and to understand the testing process. So Jim and his team have been phenomenal resources for us to make sure our ecosystem, I'm using the right word, Jim, our ecosystem and our environment can handle all of that online traffic. But this is a new platform for us to assess. And so we realized very quickly that there was going to be some acclimation that needed to happen with our teachers and with our students. And so PDE has put out this website, which offers online tools training and tutorials. And what this is giving us an opportunity to do is it's a platform for us to train our teachers, who can then in turn train our kids. But it also gives us an idea of what these assessments might look like. So starting tomorrow, the instructional coaches in all of the buildings are going to be training the teachers on the online tools during our PD session tomorrow. And then each building has instituted kind of like a Tech Tools Tuesday kind of rotation. So that way, each Tuesday between now and the PSSA or now in the Spring Keystone, students are being exposed to a different online tool, because I'm going to show you the environment in a second, and it does look very different than what our kids are used to. So, online tools training, oops, I clicked the wrong thing. Online tutorials.
Right off the bat.
Right off the bat, I screwed it up.
Everything's
Way to go,
Told you it was hard.
She recovered.
Yeah,
She recovered.
so online tools training, so this is the PSSA. And this is PSSA for English and Language Arts. So it gives us some opportunities, some information about what the test is gonna look like, some basic interface things. And then these are the test features that our kids are going to have to interact with. So the ELA is pretty straightforward. They're gonna have to enter text. And so there's videos of what that looks like. So they're gonna have, let's turn my sound up. They're gonna have a passage and then a box where the students will have to type their response. So it's pretty straightforward as far as ELA is concerned, of course. They have the interactive text, and then there's the evidence-based constructed response as well. So again, it's just an opportunity for students to interact with the passage. Some of the tools they'll see and they'll be trained on is the highlighter tool. This one with the circle is crossing out answers that we know are incorrect. So some of those test-taking strategies that we teach kids to do, but now it looks a little bit different because it is online. So ELA is not too complicated. The other thing that our teachers are going to be trained on are the accommodations. So we know that some students require accommodations on their assessment, whether it be in presentation or whether it be in output. Those things are still available through the digital PSSA assessment. We would just have to code that a little bit differently in our system. Of course. Math is where it gets a little bit exciting. So in math, the numbers obviously correspond to the grade level with which this affects. So in grades 3 through 8, students are going to have to enter text. In grade 3, they're going to have to select to respond. Third graders are going to be using a ruler. And so there's all of these tutorials to walk students through how to utilize the digital ruler. So our kids are going to have to know that when a question comes up that requires the ruler, they have to go up to the toolbar, select the ruler, manipulate the ruler with the mouse, and get their answer.
This is gonna be great.
So we say all this to say, you know, we recognize that we might see some issues when we get our assessments back because this is new for kids. They will have calculators built into their platform for them, but we do know that there are some calculators, like handheld calculators, that students can use as well. We are using them with the Keystones right now.
So are they not allowed to have any paper?
So they are allowed to have scratch paper.
Okay, so they can have scratch paper, so they don't have to use the cross out tool.
No, they don't have to.
Yeah, okay.
But you know, that's what's there for them.
Yeah.
So these tools, they're just different. Our kids are not as acclimated with using some of these virtual tools. That's why it was very important for us to be proactive and do Tech Tools Tuesday training. Again, our instructional coaches have been monumental in getting this program together. The other thing our buildings are doing in preparation are giving assessments in Linkit, which is our data warehousing platform, to get the kids, again, used to doing
Well, that was gonna be my
digital
next
assessments.
question.
Yep,
Okay.
so we're all
Kids
doing
get to
that.
see it.
Yep, so the
Okay.
kids get to see it as well. I'm going to show you a question in a second, so you can. I could not find the banana one. It keeps
couldn't?
No, but I've got
Show
another
the
good one. Don't you
protractor.
worry.
Sarah, the kids will see this too, right?
The kids are gonna see all this, and
These
this
are
is-
the practice tests for the kids.
This is the practice resources
Oh,
for the kids.
She transitioned to the kids.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's really important for us to get them acclimated to what they're going to see.
I can't even picture ninth grade, let alone
That's a number
third.
one.
I know.
I will tell you, we have been doing digital assessments with the Keystones with this winter wave, and we've had a lot of success. are,
Let's see what the scores
well,
are.
we haven't done scores yet, but administrating them.
Just
They
because
can-
they're quiet
Doesn't mean that
The
they're
stuff worked and they took them. but-
So another part of our preparations of the students are going to be taking a sample assessment that the platform provides for us. So this is a third grade mathematics assessment, all right? So the kids are going to work through these. And I just want to share with you, there's the test directions. I want to show you what one of the test items looks like. So, oh, I have to go up here, sorry. See, I'm even having a hard time navigating. So let's say we have to do a fraction builder, okay? So this question asks us to write the number, sentence, or fraction in the answer blank below. Now, if we're writing a number sentence, I need to know one, I need to find my plus. Whoop. Hold on, there's a bunch of windows popping up here, Jim, I think my computer's possessed. 1 plus 4 equals 5. So I need to know that I can do that in my answer box. Now, there's also the equation builder. So students are going to be trained to do 1 plus 4 equals 5. Now, if the answer is a fraction, they get their little fraction box right there. 1, now I need to know to click in my box, my denominator, and hit the 4 for 1/4.
2025, this is the best we can do.
It's
Yeah.
like-
I mean, not me, obviously.
Right.
State.
Yep.
So,
They're always 2 years behind anyway.
I
it's been really,
Yikes.
really important that we're doing tech tools training because the students not only need to know how to form that, they need to know this little teeny weeny circle right here is the equation builder, and that's what they have to do to put their equation in.
So they can't type in a fraction, and they have to use that tool.
It's my understanding that in order to insert the fraction, they have to use the equation builder, but then beyond that, once they've done that, they have to remember to hit OK.
Forget it.
So,
Can you put up a big sign in front of the class that says, okay?
so unfortunately, you can't do that.
Can't.
As part of the test,
You can't say
test taking, you
And
can't say anything.
Teachers can't say anything about the actual questions during the test.
And it doesn't provide you a hard stop if you don't say okay. It's not like, are you sure you want to leave this screen?
I don't know that it's gonna move the screen away. Like, I think
Like it does in the
they're not gonna be able
grocery
to.
store, for God's sake, if you.
But as a teacher, you have to then say, I'm sorry, I can't help you, what do you think you should do? So it does,
You need to, the teacher has the whole packet where they read all the directions
Yeah.
and they go through a little tutorial, so they do get that.
they get something.
Yeah.
So this is a third grade mathematics assessment, so I just wanted to share with the committee what this looks like and what we're prepping our kids for. So we believe that as we train the teachers tomorrow, and then they subsequently turn that around and train our kids, we are giving our kids the most exposure we possibly can to ensure that they're ready. But this is the hurdle we're gonna be jumping over for state assessments for this year.
And forever,
And forevermore, yeah.
moving forward.
I do think it was a good idea that we jumped on this year, however, because it gives us an opportunity to really test out our infrastructure, our resources, and to make sure our kids are ready, so when it does go live and mandatory next year, we know that we're in a really good position. So, this is online PSSAs, and Keystones is very similar.
Sarah, lay it on me, when's the first day when you're gonna be like, all the high school or all, the whole school doing this, so we can, we have this.
So I do have a date for you, I don't know it off the top of my head, but the middle school, I have their date, they're doing a practice assessment all together during
That'll
the
let
first
us
period.
measure, you know.
So we're gonna test out our ecosystem
Infrastructure.
and infrastructure to make sure that we're ready to rock and roll. I believe we'll be as prepared as we could possibly be.
So I certainly don't want to make excuses if there's a decline in performance. But I think in the spirit of trying to demonstrate, improvement in academic achievement, this certainly does not play in our favor
No.
for any kids. I mean, they don't want to take the test to start with, and now I can imagine the frustration tolerance for the equation box, et cetera. It just might really impact how kids perform on these. Maybe they'll surprise me because they're
Maybe they're just.
much better than I am, but I couldn't answer. And I said, I asked Sarah to show the banana question. It's a third grade math question. I could not get myself together to get all the boxes open correctly to just even answer the question.
Yeah, I couldn't even find it, but,
So,
but like you'll see.
Maybe they
them-
got rid of it because
They
it was
might
so
have.
poorly received.
Because the banana question caused that, but like, you know, there were these multi-part questions and things like that. So it'll be an interesting experience. I'm interested to see what the data is going to show, but this is the platform with which we're administering our state assessments this year. So we wanted to make sure you had an idea of what it looks like and what our plans are to proactively train, because we know that's going to be critical as well.
So I also, the caveat is also, you may start to hear our teams talking about, you know, currently our benchmarks, we use Linkit, we use MAP, we use a lot of other tools. The DRC has a tool called Firefly, which is free. It is reported to emulate the actual digital assessment. And so our building administrators at the elementary in particular, but across the district, have said, all right, let's see that to see if it would help exposing kids more frequently to this format, because it is not attractive.
No.
Or the end user experience is not one that I would want to replicate over and over again. However, there is a bit of understanding the system to answer the question. So we have started internally talking about that, but then we would have to make some adjustments to our benchmarking protocols district-wide. And you know, we
Something
work.
has to go. You can't just say,
Correct,
without
we can't.
subtracting. like-
Correct. We would have to eliminate, not
I
add.
hate to have to do that just to make it better for the test. It just seems
Yeah.
like a, you know, a crappy thing to
Yeah,
have to do. But,
And
yeah.
that's what.
But I get it. I
Yeah.
just, yeah.
I mean, it feels unfortunate that the evaluation of teachers and students' learning is based on this particular.
A poorly designed
A
program.
very poorly designed assessment. So,
All right, we have 3 minutes left.
Sorry.
So I want to be respectful. Don't apologize, you're fine.
No.
I want to be respectful of the next meeting coming in.
we'll do Carol, the parent engagement public service announcement is my recommendation.
I think you just
You're
did
all
it.
gonna hear
Yeah,
my,
yeah, okay,
On
great.
Saturday?
The comprehensive plan update?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
so
I
we'll-
get it.
we'll
Yeah.
skip through that.
Okay.
Okay,
That's fine.
and so the parent engagement session, January 30th.
It's listed there, I left some samples there, it has been shared last Friday in the Friday Plan email. It'll continue to be sent out this Friday and all the way up through this. This will be our second of 4 sessions. We'll have another one, additional information, quarter 3, quarter 4, but this one is working with our, and supporting our students with low incidence as they transition post-secondary to adulthood.
Okay,
I sent it out to you, Carol.
all right.
Yeah.
Easy.
I will entertain a motion for
Motion?
adjournment.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, everybody.
I appreciate it.